Are you fucking kidding me? You need the bad pussy. I said nothing. Arya gets stabbed 3 times and still defeats the waif after a Hollywood chase scene. I said nothing. They went to get a Wight from the north and bring it back to Cersei to prove to her that the Wights... I said nothing. They got her... Gendry ran back to the wall, sent a raven from Eastwatch to Dragonstone, then Dany flew from Dragonstone to north of the wall, wherever the fuck they were, and saved them. I said nothing. But this I cannot abide. Okay, so the episode starts off okay. Everyone's nervous. The camera's moving around. You know, they're worried about the undead army coming to kill them all. Fine. The music is, I gotta hand it to Game of Thrones, the music is fucking awesome. It's more like, in this episode, it's more like a horror movie than an episode of Game of Thrones. In fact, the way this whole sequence plays out, it doesn't feel like an episode of Game of Thrones. It feels like I'm watching a horror movie, which I'm actually pretty satisfied with. Now, Melisandre comes out of fucking nowhere, the same way that Cold Hands does in Season 7, and she's just like, I'm gonna set all your swords on fire. And so all the Dothraki run up to the Wights, and they get fucking slaughtered, which defeats the purpose of just bringing Mel back from wherever the fuck she went, go to Volantis, I guess, and figure out how to set swords on fire. Actually, what the fuck was she doing? Couldn't she already do that? How did Beric do it? I don't know. So she comes back to set their swords on fire, and it doesn't matter whatsoever, because the Dothraki just get slaughtered, and I gotta admit, this sequence is pretty fucking cool, with their sword lights just going out, and you're like, holy shit, this is gonna be bad. I gotta say, though, it's kind of, poorly, like, I don't understand, why did they send the Dothraki out like that? Why didn't they just wait until they could see the army of the dead? Why did they charge out like that? That doesn't make any sense to me, but it does make for a pretty cool scene. Then you see the army of the dead, or actually, let me back up. Then you see some of the Dothraki, I guess, who survived are kind of running back, which doesn't really make any sense. Why is Jorah running back? I mean, he should be fighting to the death, and that's what Jorah would do, but they kind of retreat, I guess, back to the line. They use the catapults like once, and then they're like, well, that's done and dusted. But anyway, the Wights come up on the Unsullied and I guess the Knights of the Vale and everyone, and there's like a real tense moments where you just see the zombies just running at them, and like you're like, oh holy shit, here we go, and it's like a fucking wall just hits them. A fucking wall of zombie just hits them and just overflows, and there's zombies overhead, and their line breaks immediately, which is so fucking good, and that was awesome. Now, oh my god, what else happens in this goddamn episode? There's lots and lots of disjointed scenes, lots of shaky cam. This is like taking 3 levels of shaky cam and cut, because you can't tell what the fuck is going on the entire goddamn time. Add to that is dark. And add to that, then the Night King comes with his dragon, and just fucking blasts the place with, like, frost or whatever. So now it's all foggy and shit, and nobody can see anything, which, I mean, is kind of cool, but also you can't tell what's going on to begin with. So that makes it even worse. Now, there's a real big problem with orientation in this battle. It's not even a battle. It's a horror movie slaughter, basically. It's like a slasher flick. But it's just cutting between different scenes of just people getting killed. And somehow, magically, almost all of the main characters survive, whereas almost all of the red shirts in this episode die. Anybody who's not a named character is dead, and anybody who is a named character is probably alive, with the exception of a few characters we don't really care about that much. Did Grey Worm die, or did he live? I don't even remember. It's so hard to tell what is going on in this episode that I don't even know if Grey Worm's alive or not. I guess he must be alive, because they would have given him a big death scene, right? And, oh my god, the plot armor in this episode. But, I'll get to that. So, orientation. The Night King comes in on undead Viserion, and I don't know where he is for most of this battle, because most of this battle he's not there and he's not doing anything. It's like he's flying toward Winterfell for like 50 years, and then he finally gets there. 60 minutes into the fucking episode. I don't think it's that long, but still, it takes so long for the Night King to arrive on the back of undead Viserion. And yet, when Viserion was alive, he was able to fly from Dragonstone to north of the Wall in less than 3 fucking hours. Anyway, this episode is a whole hell of a lot of disjointed scenes of people dying, and for some reason, like, there's no continuity in this episode at all. Like, people are getting swamped, and then it cuts to somewhere else, and then it cuts back to them, and then it's like, well, it's relatively clear, and they can just cut down a few whites, and they're okay. But then in the next scene that they're shown in, they're getting swamped again. It doesn't make any sense. If there's this many goddamn zombies, I mean, if this was OG Game of Thrones, like Game of Thrones season 1, 2, 3, basically all of the main characters would have died. Because they had such ridiculous plot armor during this episode that you can't just be swarmed by whites in the way that's shown on screen and live. You'd be dead in OG Game of Thrones. But this isn't OG Game of Thrones. This is post George R. R. Martin leaving the show, just David Benioff and D.B. Weiss bullshit writing. Arya's doing these crazy fight moves, which admittedly are really fucking cool. And then she gets like knocked to the ground, and then she starts running away. In the after show, hang on, I gotta sneeze. Hold on, it's coming. So in the behind the scenes for this episode, they were explaining that Arya, like, I guess she got conked on the head and she wasn't operating at full capacity, which makes sense, but they didn't really. Like, everything is so disjointed and fast-paced in this episode that was never really established that, like, she hit her head and therefore she just wasn't able to continue fighting the way she was. And that's why she had to do her sneaking around, I guess, the crypts or the castle. It's very unclear where she was when she was doing this sneaking around thing. I mean, I liked that scene in and of itself, where she's sneaking around and trying to get past the whites. That's very interesting, but I don't understand how it began, and I don't understand why I didn't understand why she was doing it, and I don't understand where she was going. Anyway, Beric Dondarrion dies saving her, which nobody cares. Of course, the Hound has this little redemption arc where he saves Arya. He's like, no, I'm out, I don't want to do this, and then he's like, okay, but I gotta save Arya, which also, he runs toward Arya, and then Arya gets knocked God knows where, and then the Hound's just like nowhere to be found for a while. It's very weird and disjointed, this whole battle sequence. There's no continuity anywhere. One minute, Jaime is being swamped by zombies, and the next minute he's got a huge opening around him. It doesn't make any sense. So they retreat to the wall. I think this happens before the whole Arya thing, but they retreat to the wall. That sequence is pretty cool, but it's really hard to tell where everybody is in relation to everybody else, because it's just lots and lots of close-up shots, shaky cam, cut. Very hard to tell what's going on. So there's like this dragon battle, which it's hard to tell what's going on, and it's hard to tell what the fuck are Dany and Jon doing. At one point they fly up above the clouds, and oh my god, that shot was so good. It reminded me of the Matrix Revolutions, when Neo and Trinity fly up above the clouds and everything's beautiful. I don't know if they were going for that, but that's pretty much exactly what it looked like, where the dragons flew up above the clouds, and it's like, holy shit, this is beautiful. But anyway, they were just kind of hanging out there, and it was very difficult to understand what the fuck Dany and Jon were doing for most of the episode. I mean, you did see like Drogon flying around and burning up whites here and there throughout the episode, which helps give you a sense of place and what everybody's doing at any given time. But anyway, there's this dragon battle where like undead Viserion and Rhaegal get in a fight, scratching at each other and stuff. And I have no idea where Dany is during this. Drogon is just chilling. So they get in a fight. I don't understand what's going on in this fight because I can't tell who's who because it's dark and there's lots of cuts and the camera's shaky and both the dragon models are the same. So I don't understand what the hell is going on. But I think what happens, and honestly, I don't even know at this point that as I'm recording this. I'm sure I'll figure it out by the time I upload this. But as I'm recording this, I'm not even 100% sure that Rhaegal died. I think he did. I think that, because I really thought that Viserion took most of the damage there, but apparently not. Viserion lived, and Rhaegal died. I don't know. I don't know. Like, did Viserion get killed and then Rhaegal was resurrected as a white dragon? I honestly don't know because it's very hard to follow. But anyway, Rhaegal falls on the ground, collapses. Jon gets thrown off, and then Jon starts basically fighting toward Bran because Bran is the target for the Night King here. So yeah, the Night King gathers up his after they have their dragon battle, they collapse. Here's another problem: you have no idea where they collapse at, so they just kind of walk up to the front gates. The Night King with his White Walker posse, they just kind of walk up to the front gates, just basically walk straight through. And Jon's trying to fight toward Bran, and oh yeah, they resurrect. Oh my god, I completely forgot about this. They resurrect the all the dead people in the crypts, turn them into zombies. How no one thought of this? I mean, it looks like they were well prepared for this battle, but how nobody thought? I mean, Jon has seen. He was at Hardhome in the show. He was there and he watched the Night King resurrect all these dead people. Why wasn't it a concern? Like, why didn't they say, holy shit, we got to get these bodies out of the crypt before we fight the army of the dead? Because they can raise the dead. Oh, there is a sequence after that dragon battle where Jon's running toward the Night King, and the Night King raises his arms like he's going to raise the dead. And that is really tense and really good. But again, the continuity makes no sense because like you cut back to Jon and now he's like 5 meters further away than he was. I just think the editing in this episode just wasn't good. I don't know if they were on a time crunch or they didn't have the shots they needed, because usually the editing in Game of Thrones is really solid. But in this episode, it just was really disjointed and they didn't save it in editing, is what I'm saying. Who else dies? Oh, Jon passes by Sam on his way to Bran. Sam is yelling, "Jon, Jon," while he's being mauled by zombies. And then later on, it cuts to Sam and he's fine. Which is, again, OG Game of Thrones, Sam would be so fucking dead. He would have been dead long before that point in this episode. But let me, I could list the characters who should be dead in this episode, and that is fucking all of them. Maybe a couple characters lucked out and survived, but everyone should be dead. Everyone should be dead in OG Game of Thrones, but all the main characters had plot armor, and it's very annoying. How do you face the biggest threat basically the biggest threat imaginable, let alone in the show, in this series of books, basically the biggest threat imaginable they're facing, and almost none of the main characters die. Lyanna Mormont has a cute little death scene. There was a point where the undead giant just smacked her, just bitch slapped her, and I laughed, and I was like, please let Lyanna Mormont be dead. But unfortunately, she had to go out cool by killing the giant, and then she dies. But yeah, Jon's fighting his way toward Bran, and he's not making any progress. The undead dragon comes back. I don't know if that's Rhaegal or Viserion at this point. I'll figure it out probably by the time this is uploaded, but I don't know. Slows Jon down. Theon has a little redemption arc where, again, that's another major problem. You see, there's like, I don't know, 20 guys with Theon, and there's like a giant horde of zombies that just attack them. And it looks like they're just going to get swamped and Bran's going to get killed almost immediately. But apparently they hold them off for like 20 or 30 minutes, which is fucking insane. They hold them off somehow. Again, this is another case where they just cut back and then all of a sudden, like, it's relatively clear, whereas before they were just swamped with zombies. Theon has a little redemption arc where Bran says, "Theon, you're a good man. Thank you for doing this for me." And Theon's like, That's all I needed to hear. I'm going to go get myself killed. So he charges the Night King, and the Night King, of course, kills him. He's one of the main character deaths. There's a few. Jorah also dies. Jorah... I guess I kind of like the Jorah death the most because he dies... He's fighting with Daenerys. Daenerys actually picks up a sword and starts hacking, which I'm fine with. I mean, she wasn't like a Mary Sue or anything, so she obviously wasn't skilled with the sword. But yeah, Jorah is getting stabbed, and there's one point where it almost looks like Dany pushes him into a stab, but I think that was just bad shot composition. Like, it looks like she almost pushes him to a sword, or like dodges out of the way of the sword, and then he gets stabbed with it. I don't think that was intentional. I just think that was bad shot composition, which is surprising coming out of Miguel Sapochnik, who directed Battle of the Bastards, which you can say that episode was like, maybe they were in a time crunch and they didn't get all the shots they needed, but the shots they had were very well composed. And also Hardhome. He did Hardhome as well. And he's returning for episode 5, so maybe that one will be good. The Night King comes up to Bran. Bran looks at him. The Night King looks at Bran. They say nothing. They just stare at each other for a little while. Oh, by the way, Bran was in like Bran warg mode for most of this episode. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. I don't know what he was doing. What was he trying to do? He didn't do anything. Bran didn't do anything. And then at the end, he just unwargs and is like, Theon, you're a good man. And then the Night King walks up to him, and the Night King's like, he starts to grab at his spear, or his ice sword, or whatever the fuck it was, to kill Bran. And then Arya comes running up from behind, despite the fact that all of these White Walkers are lined up behind the Night King. Arya comes running up from behind, jumps on the Night King's back, tries to stab him. The Night King does catch it, but then Arya does the Mare Sue move, where she drops her dagger into her other hand and then stabs him in the gut, and then that kills him. So, let me rewind a bit. Earlier in the episode, Dany has her little Dracarys moment with the Night King, where Drogon just spits flame at him, and he's unaffected by it, which is cool. We don't know for sure that the White Walkers are killable by fire, so, sure. You would think the Night King would take some kind of precautions when he knows they have Valyrian steel and obsidian, which apparently kill the White Walkers, including him. He's not immune. But yeah, basically, Arya goes up. She runs up and jumps on the Night King's back and stabs him, and that's the end. He dies, and the army of the dead dies. They all collapse. The undead dragon, whether it's Rhaegal or Viserion, I don't fucking know. The undead dragon collapses and dies. And that's it! That's it! I thought, like, well, is there a hook? Like, is there a catch to this? Like, that can't be it. That can't conclude the whole White Walker storyline, right? That can't be it! But then in the episode 4 preview, they're like, well, the Great War is over. We won.
We have won the Great War.
What? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? That's it? That's how the story of the White Walkers ends? Arya runs up behind the Night King and stabs him. That's it? Are you fucking kidding me? Season 1 started with the White Walkers. This series is supposed to end with the White Walkers. That's it? That's what 8 seasons have been leading to? Are you fucking kidding me? Arya runs up behind the Night King and stabs him, and that's it. They're done. It's over. They win. Are you fucking kidding me? My voice is going out from yelling so much. I gotta take a drink of water. And I've seen people on Twitter saying, like, this episode is good. Are you fucking kidding me? If I had told you at the end of season 1, or season 2, or season 3, or season 4 for that matter, or any of the seasons, even season fucking 7, if I had told you that how this is going to end is just, oh, Arya's just going to run up behind him and stab him, and that's going to be it. She's going to stab him with a Valyrian steel dagger, and that's going to be it. If I had told you that, you would be like, you're shitting me. There's no way that's how it ends, because that would be retarded. But that's how it ends, folks. That's all, folks. That's how it ends. Arya runs up behind the Night King and stabs him. And then all the White Walkers and all the Whites die. The army of the dead is defeated. What? This is what I've been waiting 10 years to see? What? So, before I close this out, I want to touch on something that was a guilty pleasure of mine. There's a point in the battle, if you can call it that, where the Whites swarm Drogon and just start climbing up on him. And Drogon... Dany gets bucked off, basically. And Drogon starts flying away with this just swarm of Whites just covering him. And it looks like Drogon's going to die. And frankly, I think Drogon probably should have died in that situation, but he didn't. And he starts flying around trying to get the Whites off of him. And for the rest of the battle sequence, like with all the battle sequence, all the fights with Jon, there's just Whites falling from the sky and just like crashing through roofs and stuff. And it's so stupid, but it's so fucking cool. Like this is fan fiction, but oh my god, is it fun. That's a guilty pleasure of mine. That was the best part of the entire battle, if you ask me, is the parts where the Whites just start raining from the sky. That was fucking cool, man. But anyway, Jesus Christ. Season 8, Episode 3 makes Season 7, Episode 6 look like a masterpiece. I am dead inside that this is how... I don't know what they're going to do with the rest of Season 8, but who the hell cares? Cersei's going to lose, right? Who cares about King's... The White Walker threat was the culmination of everything in Game of Thrones. Who cares? We have 3 more episodes of what? Cersei's gonna lose. Dany's gonna take the Iron Throne. She's gonna let the North secede. Tyrion's gonna convince her to establish democracy or some shit. It's gonna be something stupid like that. All of my excitement for Game of Thrones is like gone after this episode. That's it. There are no movies and no TV shows that I'm excited for anymore.